Peace to my viewers. I have to make this video quick. This is my new channel, Mental Zoo. This is actually the second video that I wanted to put on here. I made another video yesterday, but I made it too long and I had to put it on my other channel, which is True Jimmy, TrueGemmie. You can check out that video on my other channel, and it basically pertains to the Perkins loan that was canceled out by Congress, that helped low-income college students, and it just gave my opinion on what I thought about that decision. But today's topic, tongue-tied. Today's topic, I want to talk about how I saw a program on YouTube which discussed how to fix the prison system for felons who received long prison terms due to nonviolent drug offenses, 25 to life or life sentences, conspiracy to deal drugs and all of that. This is actually an HBO program. I guess it was shown maybe a couple of weeks ago. It was filmed when President Obama went to the federal prison. He is the first U.S. president that ever went to a federal prison. And basically, it was an hour-long program, and it basically kind of lightly went over the reasons why people got into, how they got into, a couple of guys, how they got into it out of desperation. One guy, his business was failing, he had a family, he borrowed money, and he couldn't pay it back, so he ended up dealing a little bit of drugs, so he ended up getting caught, and he got a life sentence, and he was serving 19 years. It went into how the family suffered while a person served time, and if you ever served time, or if you have family members or friends that serve time, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like the whole family and people that care about you is serving time with you, because you miss special events. You miss your kids growing up, and it's a pain that never ends until that person returns home. When President Obama went into the prison, he met with a room of people, and he basically listened to their stories, what happened to them, and how long their life sentences were. And he was talking about the options that were available to them, and how it basically, he addressed how they will have a harder time getting jobs once they get out. They won't be able to get federal loans to attend school. So it's basically a cycle, and it's a high incidence, a high recidivism rate. A majority of people return to prison within a year. I know, like years ago, I thought it was like within a 5-year period, it was like 70 to 80% return within that time. But on this program, it said within a year, a majority will re-enter the criminal justice system, because they cannot find an opportunity how to support themselves to survive in this world, and they end up hanging around people they used to deal drugs with, the bad crowd, their friends, or commit other crimes and re-enter the system. When the program went on, and it was only an hour long, it spoke about how the law was passed, I guess, back in the 90s, and how former President Bill Clinton made it the 100-to-1 ratio for people who were dealing crack cocaine and so forth, made the prison system, the prison sentences harder, I should say, 100-to-1. Now they recalculated it, and now it's 18-to-1. But I think they said like 6,000 federal prisoners are supposed to be released out of their sentences based on this recalculation. It's being retrograded back to get them out. It's the unfair sentences, nonviolent drug offenses. A lot of countries, yes, if you bring drugs into their countries, you automatically get the death sentence. And we hear that time and time again on the news. And, every country has their own culture, and people view things, right? Some people would feel that people who do drugs, since you're willing to harm other people in the community and society, you don't deserve to live on the face of this earth. But many people in this country feel that those who deal drugs, and you didn't literally kill somebody with your hand, you just was part of an operation passing it on to people who want to do it, or you conspiring to plan with someone else to do it and don't actually do it, but if the conversation is there, they can trip you up on conspiracy. and you can get 25 to life or a life sentence on these charges. And it pretty much addressed that. And one thing that the prisoners did say, going towards the end of the program, is that they didn't have a father figure. And time again, one guy, he was in prison a long time. He said his father was in prison, I think, for murder. And he now has two of his sons who also served time in prison. So it was generational that was happening to his family. The program kind of lightly touched on Black and brown kids are easily suspended in school, the school to prison pipeline. And other issues, you can't really cover that in an hour long. The problem starts before they're an adult and exchanging drugs. Some people may get caught up in it. They want some quick, fast, easy money. Some major emergency happens and they're looking to make money real quick. And some people may grow up in an environment where everyone around them is involved in this type of activity. And it's the only thing they see. And a lot of men said that it was the streets that have to raise them to be a so-called man, and you end up getting in trouble. But a lot of things couldn't be covered in this. It was only an hour-long program. But speaking on the issue of not having fathers, when the prisoners were talking about that, a lot of times in this society, we hear some people say that fathers are not important because a lot of us are raised by single mothers, and our mothers do everything for us. They take care of us. They clothe us. They feed us. They love us without our fathers present. And there's almost like like we don't need a man, or you go on into that type of conversation, but it's too much details I want to give. But I'm just like kind of looking at the time here because I know this video has to be like within a certain time period. I know, like, for my father was not there, and I know the effects that it had on me for not my father being present. So I can imagine being a male, not having your father present, being in a bad environment, having other people raise you by their standards, how boys can get off track. And same thing, girls need their fathers just as much as boys do. And like I said, I can only go by my personal experience, not having my father, and I know how I thought, what I did as a result of that. But it leads up to where I am writing a book on my experience about that, and it'll be available sometime in the spring. But this is a program, it was, informative. You get to see President Obama go into a prison, but it can only lightly touch on certain topics. There were major topics that can be covered in that, and then the actual issue is bigger than what's in this program. It's the whole culture and how certain segments of society are systematically discriminated against. And that's a topic that a lot of people don't want to discuss. I could care less. But like I said, I can't speak more on it because, the time. But it was interesting, and it just makes your heart bleed. And the only thing that President Obama basically can do is pardon people. And you got until next year to pardon people, and it's like 6,000 people they're releasing on basically the recalculated formula of 18-1 on their drug sentences that they received, back under the 100-1. Now it's 18-1. But the only thing President Obama basically can do is pardon people. And a lot of congressmen, I guess, they came together and realized how severe it was to basically wipe people's lives away when they didn't literally kill anybody. Like I say, in this society, we view things different. In Asia, certain countries in Asia and in the Mideast and other countries, if you get caught dealing drugs, it is the death penalty. No questions asked. They don't play with it. Whether you're dealing with it, you got it in your hand, you with somebody else that had it or whatever, you will be executed. But we live in this country, and it's just tragic that it does happen, and for somebody, making a desperation move. But that is all, because my time is running out. So until next time, peace.